And we are live. Hello, everybody. Thank
Hello,
you for
everyone.
joining um, Deb H and I this afternoon. This is an unusual time for me, but it's nice because it gives me something to look forward to and help balance my day out. And again, I want to say thank you for Deb for rescheduling. Last week, everybody knows my kitty Ziva wasn't well, and I was worried and I couldn't focus and be able to do the show, not knowing with my girl. And Deb was so very gracious and kind, as she usually is, to go ahead and reschedule. So,
I don't mind at all. I don't mind at
from
all.
one fur mama to the other, thank you. um, and last time, welcome back, because last time Deb was on my channel was last year when she joined me for the Spirit of Color. And of course, we
Yes.
talked about the color violet, our favorite color.
Yes, we
Violet,
did.
purple, and I love the hair. I forgot to mention
Thank you.
backstage. I love that color. I actually saw a recent commercial, and Cyndi Lauper had her hair that beautiful lavender color. And I was thinking to myself, this extra color starts to grow out, I think I might go and grab a box, from the store that has it's like semi permanent. And it's a beautiful pastel purple. So I may have to go and have a little bit of fun with that. So
That's what I do. I just go down to the beauty supply and find the shade I want and
just and also, if I'm going to welcome Deb H for Purple Elephant, her channel is in the description box below. So please feel, if you feel connected to Deb and her energy, please go ahead and click on the link and subscribe. That would be awesome. But we also have special guest Monkey.
yes, Monkey. Monkey decides to come to every show that
Yep, as everybody in
I'm
the
on.
chat
Yes.
knows, my Mozzie will again probably pop up in a little bit, but this should be like the fur babies hour. No, when us readers, when we go live and our fur babies have to be there, it's just like, yep. Don't tell me that doesn't help boost the channel a little bit.
They are part of our energy work.
They
So
are,
they
they really are.
they do contribute.
And Mozzie has on a couple occasions, wanted to like push on cards. He actually pushed a card out of my hand one day while I was trying to shuffle, and I looked at him. This is the message. I think it's a good message, and we shared it. So, um, just really quick, if anybody has seen, we had a song. Deb and I were serenaded by Cat Mama
Yes.
earlier, so she
Cat
made
Mama has sung us "The Lion
the
Sleeps
song.
Tonight."
Hmm.
Yes.
So I asked her if she got into the really good catnip this time. So it was a joy, Cat Mama. Thank you so much. I really needed that smile. And of course, Tangi, she's listening. We've been having gorgeous weather here, so she's been out in her garden. We've been at the park. Um, so anybody who's still, inside listening during this beautiful weather, thank you for joining us. And we have Angela. She's lurking from Cardamancy Mesquite. Angela, um, I would still love to have you and Angela on as a guest one afternoon. So hopefully we could plan that during the summer at some point. Isadora, hello,
Fun.
Isadora. Melinda. Oh, hard to hear me. Okay, because I probably have my fan on because it's like 80, almost 90 degrees here today. So let me turn it down to the lowest here. Let me redirect my fan a little bit. Let me pull this up a little closer. And please let me know. Um, can you hear me better, Deb, on your end?
That's
I'll put my keyboard away. How's that? So people
that's
let me know if they can hear me. We have flowing here, and like I said, Melinda,
yes.
Arwen the Gray, my dear. How are you feeling? Arwen had to have surgery last week, and so we have been sending her lots of healing energy to her for a fast recovery, a safe and healthy recovery, because sometimes fast is not necessarily always the good thing for our body. So we're hoping that Arwen is having a nice, restful healing. and it's nice to see you here. And making sure I don't miss. Deb's mic is loud and Heather's mic is low, Tangi said. Okay, well, let me put up my microphone a little bit, so hopefully that'll be better. Sometimes I have issues, sometimes I don't. It's like a hit and miss with my iPad. And we have Maura here. Thank you for joining us. So today's topic of discussion was something that Priscilla and Heather from the Crone Zone actually discussed on their channel a couple weekends ago, and it was on spiritual integrity. And that just really resonated with me. And I wanted to do a live, and I was thinking, who do I feel like that would be, a spirit who would be a good. And Deb H just popped right into my head. And I have seen some of your recent lives with Gerald from Tarot Stash. I haven't got to a chance to watch the integrity part of giving a tarot reading, which I think is very important and is probably still is connected with the concept of spiritual integrity,
Yes.
and how, especially even if you are not a reader, or if you are a reader, how that integrity follows through with how you read, the intention behind the reading, and so forth. So that, so spirit said, and when I said, I was like, yes, perfect energy. Thank you again for agreeing with me. And here we just had pop in. Hello, Septina, from the Tipsy Tea Leaf Oracle. Thank you for joining us. And I know this is a topic too that Septina discusses a lot on her channel as well. And I think it's a very important conversation to have.
Well, I think there are as many conversations to be had on this subject as there are spiritual people. So I think that it's a conversation that we can have and keep. It can be ongoing because we change and we grow. And so the meaning of integrity doesn't, at its core, doesn't change, but the way we express it may change.
Exactly. And I'm looking at the notes that I wrote down, because Priscilla was kind enough to send several links to me that her and Heather referred to for their show. And I really need to give a shout out. And I do believe I put the link in our description. If not, I can go back later and put it in under comments. But her name is Terry, Terri, and her last name is Kozlowski. And she had an incredible article on awakening your authentic self is a journey to spirit.
Yeah.
And it was a long article, but she hit home on so many. It was just, even talking about it, I get goosebumps, because it was almost like sitting down and having a conversation with somebody who gets it from where I'm at right now, currently spiritually, with my channel and my reading and my development. And she is actually a soul coach, and she does have a podcast on Spotify called Soul Solutions. So her link should be in the description. And I'm just taking a quick look here to make sure I'm not forgetting anything. Because, like I was telling Deb backstage, that because of the length of the article, I was like, okay, what can I take that would be important for everybody to hear today at this time? And then, of course, like you said, Deb, this is should be an ongoing conversation, because as we know, as we've seen in our community, as what goes on in the world, things are constantly changing. We're going through so many different energetic shifts. There's things that are going on outside of our control in politics in other countries, whether it has to do with human rights, whether it has to do with how that changes the earth is going through, our Mother Earth. Sometimes we just kind of get caught up in fear, and that leads right into with one of the things that Terry pointed out was that a lot of fear and what holds us back from our spiritual awakening and getting into, and with spiritual awakening comes authenticity. And like Deb and I
Yes.
were talking about backstage, authenticity is the spiritual authenticity is the connection to spiritual integrity, because you can't be spiritually authentic if you don't have integrity. And is there anything that you want to share from your thoughts that you received from spirit while I just look at chat really quick in my notes?
Well, um, our authentic self is how we express our integrity. So, and so our integrity would be what we are willing to accept for ourselves, no matter what the situation would be. If we are being true to our authentic self and our authentic spiritual journey, then we will express our integrity that way. To be honest in what we do, to be who we are in everything we do. And that includes our spiritual life and our spiritual path. Heather, you are.
I had motorcycles flying by, and I didn't want that to affect people being able to hear you, and I muted. So there was a section under the article where it goes, "Why does the ego believe we are broken?" And it's interesting. She uses the word domestication. Because of our domestication, the ego traps our authentic selves inside the marble for our protection. So our ego, when we experience that fear of being afraid of being open, being who we are, and that unknown that is constantly we're being bombarded daily. Let's face it, by a lot of more negative messages than we are positive ones, and there are just as many, if not more, positive stories and positive things that people are doing around the world. Positive things that, the earth changes that are positive. So we're constantly being fear driven into our social media and to the TVs and the news. And we, like she said, that we're domesticated. We become so domesticated by a lot of the fear mongering that it basically suffocates our authenticity, our spirituality. Whether it's we follow a strict, um, you know, religious path, or even an open spiritual path, she mentions in here, can even sometimes still be taken over by ego.
Yes.
And she goes, the ego doesn't know how to process these emotions the heart uses to get us. Wait a minute, the ego doesn't know how to process these emotions. So it's like that being trapped in the ego mind, the fear base, wanting to protect ourselves. And what jumped out here at the bottom was the ego struggle to compete, be perfect, outdo others and ourselves is a fertile endeavor because it's always reacting from a place of fear. That is nature. The belief that all it needs and wants comes from outside of ourselves causes it to feel broken. It is in this uncomfortable place that growth can occur and we can find our true selves. And that one section from that.
And one thing I wanted to
Thank you,
mention about
Spirit.
fear is thank you, Sharon, that fear is what people who love power use to control.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a tool or a tactic. Then if we aren't afraid, then we might see what they're really doing. Or if we aren't afraid to be an individual, then we may not step into line just like everyone that they're trying to control. So it's fear has been used forever to control people or even animals. I mean,
Yeah.
fear has been used as a tool. And what Melinda said, healthy fear, that's different. That's different. If you are on the side of a cliff, yes, be afraid of falling off.
Yeah.
But the fear to be different shouldn't be a real fear. And it's not. It's just, it's a tool that's being used against us and against our best interest. Our best interest is for us to be an individual and be who we are in our heart and at our core. Yeah, they use it makes me mad too. I see fear mongering in advertisement in
TV shows.
our whole society is built on fear. And if we can make you afraid of something, then we can make you buy this remedy for whatever that fear is. Or we can make you vote this way, or we can make you be a good student, or whatever it is they're selling.
As long as they keep making us fight, fear each other, hate
Yes,
each other,
yes,
fight each other, um, they get to stay up here and just watch, and they'll just, they'll yeah, they are conditioning us, but we have to also take responsibility and say, I see what's going on, and okay, I am not going to um, watch this particular news channel anymore. I'm going to maybe watch a different one for a different perspective, or just but what you see. And I'm going to go take a little tiny step to the little bit of the dark side for a second, because one of the points that I wanted to make was that when we all, and I don't get monetized, so I'm not afraid to use certain specific names or words or anything, but I will be careful because of I want this to remain a safe space for everybody. Deb and I both agree that our lives are to be a safe space, a sacred space, but at the same time we want to be very open and honest as possible. Um, During the time when um, Jeffrey Epstein was arrested, and after his, I'm going to say, his untimely and convenient passing, it was made known to the public that his supporter, one of his main supporters who gave him the building in New York, the man's last name was Wexler. And it became publicly known that Wexler, even though it wasn't really shown in the news, but Wexler owns Bed Bath and Beyond, Victoria's Secret, and there's another one, I can't think of what it was, but those two automatically was just like, oh my God. And I started letting especially women know that, really, do you really want to shop here? This man is financing the business that Epstein was running. He was a part of it. I mean, and this isn't alleged. It's that they are saying that there was transactions. So I'm being, careful with YouTube, but it was made publicly known that he owns these companies. And I started telling people that I knew, oh my God, you know, I wouldn't buy this. And a lot of people who I share this information with, they didn't care. I said, okay, so you're going to continue purchasing, buying from Victoria's Secret, especially even up to this point, the way they give poor body image and everything to young women and whatnot. It's also becoming, and I'm saying it's a lot of it's being swept under the rug. Um, the young women that were brought into it. It doesn't take a scientist to connect one, one and two and three together to see where this is going. And I kept telling people, you're still going to buy there. Why? And they're like, well, because we like shopping there. I'm like, but this individual is making money and doing what he's doing. And for me, that was shocking to see that people couldn't let go of a favorite brand of scent or a type of bra to help protect future, you know what I mean?
I do.
So we need to take responsibility
Yes.
spiritually for where we shop as well.
And so their desire for whatever their favorite thing was more important than
Yeah.
than human lives, than people being used and abused.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, so people's choices can tell us a little bit about their integrity and whether or not they are people that we would want to have in our inner circle. I don't buy any of those either, Ross. Easy. I don't.
I won't either.
I don't. And I don't. I have. There are businesses I do not frequent because I don't like their business practices or the way they treat people or just how they conduct their business.
So it we have, when it comes to spiritual integrity, that involves all aspects of our lives.
Yes.
I buying now to be honest, I do have a Hobby Lobby here in Niagara Falls. Now I know how Hobby Lobby regulates, certain um, um, women for their health care for their employees. I
Yes.
understand that they're very right wing and they're Christian and that. However, I do see also they do hire individuals of from the excuse me, the LGBTQ plus community. I have seen individuals with disabilities, um, and so that is the closest art store near me and what I can afford. Now, I could see myself. I mean, I've had people call me a hypocrite. I'll be quite honest. But for me, the next closest art store is almost like half hour, 45 minutes inside of Buffalo. Um, but for me, it's not. It's all how we have to pick and choose. And yes, I guess I just called myself out on my own live, Deb.
Well, I would say to you, Heather, that it's it's not my place to tell you what your
Yeah.
conscience or integrity or your what you what are your parameters that you are working within. So it's not my place to say to you, oh, you're being a hypocrite, because my circumstances aren't the same as yours. I'm not in the same position with my creativity that you are. And you are operating within your what you have to work with, within finances,
Sometimes it makes
availability,
it hard for us. Yes.
location, all of that. So you have to consider, you can't you can't impose your own set of values on someone else. We have to let each of us choose what is acceptable to each one of us. So you are in a position to have a need, and that is your choice of where to get it.
Yeah, this is true.
So I don't. I would not go so far as to call you a hypocrite, but
Thank you, Septina. Reasonable accountability.
yes, and I
Sometimes I call it
understand
out. Yeah.
understanding a person's circumstances and reasons for what they choose or don't choose is also an important thing. I want to just say that we are not a template. There is no right or wrong. Each person is free to choose whatever their own values are. And what we're discussing as far as integrity is to just be consistent. It's don't be wishy-washy and today, oh, this is a thing, and tomorrow it doesn't really matter. It's different when we grow and different things become acceptable or not acceptable to us. That's different than just from one day to the next going with whatever the popular opinion is.
Exactly.
So
This is why I knew that you would be a good fit for this conversation because I
well,
love the perspective that you bring that I've seen on your channel and when you've read with other people. So I really appreciate that perspective.
right. And there are worse players than Hobby Lobby. Sometimes you have to choose your battles. Sometimes you don't have access to things that you need from someone who has the same exact value system that you do. If you see that they're at least trying in some areas.
Like we were talking earlier, it makes it hard because of a lot of times of where we live, how where places are put. It just the people that are in charge. A lot of times, it just is like that constant. Oh, what's the word? I can see it forming in my mind. It's like it's like that playground. There you can you've got this over here. You try to go over here, but there's too many, and it's just that constant like. It's weird. I don't know why they put playground in my head. I'm starting to trust a little bit more when I get certain images, and I think it's just like the playground. It's we're kind of like the playground, and those in power or those whether it's political or like companies like Tesla, Facebook, major companies and corporations. For entertainment purposes only, YouTube. I'm just using those as examples. Um, and a lot of these corporations, these people are trained to learn how to see how the ego works, how a person's mind works. They see how, like in a playground, how people, like kids or people, will interact with one another, and how, like you said, sometimes we have to choose our battles. And it's kind of like with the ego, it's just trying to see. I don't know why they want me to say this, but it's like seeing who is the strongest, who is the weakest, who they can use more of, and to them it's like a game, but and then a game, it's a way of working and building on the understanding of how ego works, how fear based works, and that is all really put into how corporations use colors for their products, how they use certain words in their advertisements, how
Yes.
they present their commercials, and who the actors are. I mean, just to really step back and really just take a look. And one of the quotes that just popped in that I had written down that might really fit in here is awakening. This is by from Deepak Chopra. Awakening is not changing who you are, but discarding who you are not. So we can start standing back and looking at, okay, am I a Victoria's Secret person? From what I understand and what I know, no, I am not. So that part I will discard. Am I going to be on, let's say, you come across a TikTok group or a YouTube group or something, say, do I like how this particular person is doing their show or how they are talking about it? No, okay, well then I'm going to unsubscribe. This is how I. So we all have different ways of discarding what is not us, and this not just even has to do with what we do social media, but too with our spirituality. Because I know it was focused on from Psychology Today, saying that, and I'm being directed to number 8, um, an inauthentic religiosity. That's a big word, but basically, inauthentic spirituality promotes religious goals over direct experience of spirit.
Mhm.
So we know that, a lot of, you know, um, religious institutions, and I'm not knocking people who still attend church and have their main religious faith. It's not necessarily the dogma, it's the people and what's in their heart. And a lot of people have to remember that religion, spirituality, all this means absolutely nothing. What does matter is what's in your heart.
Yes.
And I think that's one of the things that they were pointing out. Um, so I'm just looking because I know I wrote a couple of things, and I'm trying to ask Spirit which one. A transformative, vital spirituality is not a process of picking and choosing what is convenient to us. We cannot have it both ways. We cannot grow spiritually while controlling our goal. So it's that again, letting go and trusting spirit and yourself to guide you to what is your own authentic spiritual path.
And the article mentions not comparing ourselves
Yes.
to others. So once we start to compare ourselves, then we're not being authentic. We're trying to live up to a standard we can't meet, or we're comparing ourselves to someone and thinking that we're superior to them. So those things are not productive. They're not only not productive, they're lies, because there is no wrong way to do it. There is no right way to do it. There's only your way that works for you.
Mm-hmm.
My way works for me. And we have to, or we don't have to, but we should accept one another where where we are on our spiritual journey, where we are on our path, what our experiences inform us as far as our behavior and our beliefs. If we are respectful of one another instead of trying to compare ourselves to one another, then it benefits all of us.
Exactly, and it's so interesting that you had mentioned the part of the article that says comparing because I actually brought up that was the next snapshot that I took on my phone from that article, and it says this awakening isn't something we can compare with another, as our journey differs from anyone else's. No one else can be a more authentic version of us than we can, and no one can take this journey for us. This has to be taken by ourselves.
Yes.
So, definitely, Lisa from Mystic Traveler, definitely well said. Um, and I'm just going to look really, I just want to say really quick, Sharon Sipe, thank you again for being here and putting everybody's links. Congratulations again over the weekend. I did hear you were top moderator. You have been there for so many of us, and we appreciate you. So thank you for being here and helping me help support, my fellow readers who are joining us, and myself and Deb. You are much loved and much appreciated. Thank you. All of my moderators are.
Yes.
Where would we be without our subscribers too? And and those who are willing to be a moderator, it's
So,
more than just getting trolls. It's
well,
about
and
being there and being supportive.
it's really keeping the chat going and keeping it civil and um, uplifting, high vibrational.
There's
So,
the article. Thank you, Sharon. That is the article. I think
mhm.
that was in the description. So thank you for popping that back in here. This is an incredible article. I typically don't recommend. Every now and then I do. There is another video on YouTube called Human 2.0, and it's put out by on a channel called After School, and the school is spelled with an SKOOL, and they really do videos showing how we have given over our spirituality and our humanity to too much now, to AI, to our devices, to those in power, because there's so much fear being put into us. We're feeling like we have to keep checking our phones to see, okay, what do we do next? What are they saying? What are they saying? What do they say? So it's a really powerful video. It's not very long. It's like 13 minutes, but they have other wonderful videos. Just kind of like putting in a bigger picture of what we're speaking of. And I
Yeah.
love how they include spirituality as well in it. And getting back to nature, earthing, getting outside, taking your socks off and just putting our feet onto the earth and connecting with Mother Earth, because that's really a source of our spirit, of our spirituality. Is we're born on this planet. We share the same energy and the same elements as Mother Earth does, and so we need to really reconnect and develop our connection to ourselves and our spirit and the planet, instead of giving over it to you know the you can't even, there's so many words to describe out that the the overwhelming presence of, I mean, technology is good, but just the overwhelming presence of um, how technology can be used in a negative manner, and a lot of it needs to be
It's
shown more in a positive
relinquishing
light.
our power. We're
Yes,
relinquishing our power to the technology instead of using it as a tool. That's what it
yes,
is. It's a tool.
we're allowing it to take over us instead of controlling us, instead of us controlling it. And there's no
Yes.
replacement for our own spirituals, our own souls and our connection to this planet. Nothing's more pure, nothing's more authentic than that, compared to an artificial AI. There was another also quote from her, or part of her article, I just wanted to read really quick. And it says, "We will stumble, take missteps along the way, potholes and rugged terrain to walk. We must not get discouraged with ourselves, and we need to be gentle with ourselves, and not to get discouraged. It takes time and self-care to look within and uncover who we are authentically." And so I know at my age, I'm going through this right now, looking back, kind of beating myself up, looking at the mistakes that I made, going here when maybe I should have gone there, and trying to take those coulda, shoulda, wouldas and try to put them in more of a positive light, to kind of just be like life lessons. And I get it. It is a struggle.
Well, Heather,
We all go through it.
there aren't any real mistakes. There are only learning experiences. And so, if we stop beating ourselves up for making a wrong move or a mistake, or maybe I could have made a better choice there, the, what we really need to look at is what did we learn? And did we learn the lesson well enough that we won't do that again? That we recognize the circumstances when they come up again, because the universe will keep giving us the same lesson if we don't learn it.
Exactly.
And it will
repeating some of them, so it's time to wake up.
It will pop up again and again in different forms, and in some cases get more dramatic as it goes along. So just learn the lesson. Look at it as a lesson, and I learned that. Now I know what it looks like, and I can move forward. I don't ever have to repeat that again.
No, I'm shuffling because I'm starting to feel like, okay, certain cards were not in my mind to come, but Spirit kind of said, no, you're going to use this deck. So what I'm doing here is I'm just feeling like shuffling and pulling, cards for the collective messages. And it says here, and this is exactly what it was I was going to mention earlier, or just a little while ago. Some of our fellow readers really know astrology. And they said that right now there are a lot of planets in a lot of different alignments, especially something called the Grand Cross. And that a lot of our anxiety, I know Silver Star Priestess Heather posted a video talking about this too. And that a lot of these planetary shifts and what alignments they are in, especially now, a lot of these alignments, solar eclipses, lunar eclipses that we're having, haven't been experienced on this planet in hundreds of years, and so a lot of it's to help our ascension. And just really quick, that's the card that I just pretty much just pulled. Pillar of Light. Your vibration is rising. You are the oracle. So right now, all of our energies are awakening. We're questioning our spirituality, which is a good thing. I've always had people saying, no matter what your religious or spiritual beliefs are, you should always be reevaluating them, re-questioning them, because if we're not doing that and not finding something different, then we are not actually growing spiritually, and may be overlooking a different path that we may have to take. And this isn't a bad thing. It's just to be more aware, self-aware. And I think the more that we do practice spiritual integrity and being authentic, those paths will be much more clearer for us to see. And do you have a card, my dear?
I do. I drew the shapeshifter, which is to transform and unveil your gifts.
Beautiful.
All of your gifts. So just because you think to yourself, oh, I can do this, that may not be the only thing you can do. You may have more gifts. Shift your perception. And finally, intend and create. And I might also add that all of these cards point to the fact that we are all connected. So when we are sharing whatever we have to offer, whatever gift we have, and it can be just as simple as going to the grocery store and being in a high vibrational state while you're doing that. Whatever you share, we are all connected. So everyone we meet either touches us or we touch them. And we never know what kind of impression we left on someone, or if we may have helped them in some way. And that is one of the highest forms of giving of ourselves that we can do, is when we do things without the idea that we're going to get something in return. That we just give whatever we have to give, And if someone needs it, they will take it.
We're all, that's right, Floyd. We are all teachers and students.
Yes.
And really quick to Nancy from A Crone's Intuition did join us. I've been trying to keep up. I know there's many people have been joining us. Miss Tarot D, hello, my dear. Thank you for being here. And I have to show after that shapeshifter card, I was shuffling this other deck, and look what I got: integrity, the wise woman of Wonderland. Integrity, because if we don't have integrity in place, spiritual integrity, as in, in our discussion, then we have compromise, and we don't want to compromise our spirituality
No.
to fit somebody to fit somebody else that we want to be in their circle. We don't want to have to change ourselves to be accepted or loved or appreciated or liked. Um, to be, we don't want to dim our light to fit into somebody else's. Whether, and Deb H and I were talking about this backstage. I have noticed, um, in not just our community, but watching other different YouTube channels on tarot and in other subjects, there seems to be a lot of clicks going on, and sometimes they, how do I put this? Because this is all out of love and respect. And this is all from the heart. I got the Jade card too. Beautiful, being out in nature, the light, and a saying, taking action. Sometimes we feel like we have to change who we are or dim our light to be able to fit into another circle, or to be, just to dim our light to fit in another circle or into another group. And if we dim that beautiful light, um, then we are compromised. Our integrity, um, and our authenticity, is going to be compromised. So there are times, like what Deepak Chopra said, to be able to awaken and to grow is not changing who we are, just discarding what is no longer a part of us. And I did pull also really quick from my Gemstone Guardian deck, and I got Ruby, and it says here, genuine beauty. So again, authenticity, genuine beauty. And it says, uncertainty is a gift from the future. And this is a wonderful deck. This was gifted to me by Ivana, from Ivana Intuitive. And Cheryl Marlene, if people don't know who she is an author, and she works with the Akashic. And she created a book. I don't have the book right here in front of me. It was also gifted to me by Ivana. And she went and she connected on the Akashic level, to the Akashic record level of certain crystals, and received messages from them about their purpose here on Earth, and how they're here to be able to help people. And this is from the deck. And I think that's just a beautiful message. Again, just genuine beauty, being who you are. And she focuses a lot, the crystals, the messages are, we have to let go of fear.
Yes. And if something happens and you feel like you've compromised yourself or your integrity or your values in some way, just tell yourself that happened. Look at it for what it is, learn from it, and let it go and move on. Don't beat yourself up if you think you did something wrong. Don't beat yourself up. There's no reason for it. Just learn from the experience and move on. And when we know better, we do better.
I mean, I've been going through that myself. There's still things in my past that I've had a hard time letting go of the guilt for, the shame for, because I see how it has affected, Shannon and I over the years. And it can be a real battle.
It can.
It's not easy, and we're going to have bad days, and it's okay to have bad days, but there are days when, if you can get into that mindset and say, okay, like my my counselor, Kathy, she said in our group today that it takes 21 days to start changing a habit. And this also goes with our thought forms. And so, if we can try to be as consistent as possible for at least 21 days, or if we could just work our way up to 21 days, just to show we can get our minds to switch and think in a more positive way. And another card, and I'm just going to give it right back to you, Deb, in a second, is get grounded. Highly sensitive, connecting with nature. So, right now, especially a lot of us who are empaths, who are highly sensitive, especially in the area I live in. I live in Western New York, and even though New York State's blue, my area is very red. I actually have a neighbor right down the street here who has big four huge flags out, and two of them are for 45 for 2024. And it's just like I sometimes have to laugh, and then I sometimes just have to say, I send you love. This is your path. This is not my path. And I wish you well. So being sensitive to this, it is a very strong. It's going to be a very difficult daily practice for a lot of us. Where we live. But just remember when we have those moments, connecting to nature is just so important. And I'm going to give that right back over to Deb because I think she might have some cards.
I drew the sage to be devoted and committed. So that goes along with not beating yourself up. That goes along with allowing others to be themselves. If you're devoted and committed, then you may see things that appear to be less than perfect. But it's okay to let them be that way. Because you're the sage, you can look at it and not let it dominate your feelings about something, or maybe they view you in a less than perfect light, or that they think that you have done something against them. Be the sage, be devoted and committed. Let that go. That's their journey. That's not your journey. It's okay for them to have a different path.
Yes.
And you keep being your authentic self. Don't let them try to peg you into a place that you don't want to be or that isn't serving you. And you can do that in a way that doesn't bring them down, isn't derogatory to them, doesn't talk bad about them. You can just let them go, and you can be yourself and let them be themselves.
Beautiful. Yeah. Because I sometimes feel like as angry as I get when I see my neighbors in my city, it's one of the supposed to be one of the most beautiful wonders of the world, Niagara Falls. And right now we have had such terrible violence, government corruption. Um, but yet, there are still people here that they're strong. But when I do see those individuals with the T-shirts and the flags and everything, and I get so angry, I just have to remember and say, you know what? There may come a time when they may see what they thought was right for them and was really from their heart wasn't, and they're going to need that love. They're going to need that compassion. They're going to need that understanding.
Yes.
And can I be the one to swallow my anger when I see these things and say, you know what? Still try to smile if you see one of them. Let them know that, if things were to change and their viewpoints were to change, that we may make it easier for them to become more loving or understanding, maybe more compassionate, because we were that way instead of, you know, the name calling, the curse words. I mean, there's still times when I'll drop the F bomb when I see certain things, on the news and whatnot. I avoid the news like the plague as much as possible. But, with that neighbor now, whenever I have to drive down the street, which is almost on a daily basis, I have to start telling myself, you know what, just wish them love, compassion, and that they find their way, wherever it is.
The only thing you can do is let the exchange of energy be a positive force in your own life. Whatever they take from it is on them. So you can hold the door open and shine the light where on the path, but once they step through the door, it's on them. Whatever happens, whatever they do is their decision and their path. You fulfilled your purpose holding the door.
And just really quick, I noticed I have a new individual in my chat today, Kay Muldoon. I hope I said your name right. Um, I haven't seen you before in here. Thank you for joining us and welcome. I appreciate you saying hello to everyone and joining our conversation. And really quick, Lindsay, my friend, hope she's going to have surgery soon, coming up on her leg. So everyone can send her well wishes as well. And just really quick too, my big sister, Teresa, is having surgery on an infection that's on her leg that she's had for over a year now on Thursday. If everyone could just send a big, loving, healing energy hug to my big sis Teresa, for a safe and successful surgery on Thursday, that would be much appreciated. Um, it would be much appreciated for me. I know she's scared. Big sisters don't want to be scared, admit that, they're scared, but. And Lizzie said she already had her surgery. So she's post-op now. Oh my goodness. Well, then continued energy and healing to you, to Arwen for her shoulder, for my sister. And just want to make sure. And Isadora says yes. Her sister tries to instill her beliefs. And, I'm lucky that I don't have anybody in my close circle that have those beliefs. That I do, but I don't really interact much with them. Yes, everybody sees that you want to say hi. Oh my goodness. And it's just, you have to create those healthy boundaries, because the healthy boundaries, helps keep our mental health in a good place, our emotional health in a good place, our spiritual as well.
Yes.
And so if you have to say, listen, sis, I can't talk to you right now. This is not what I want to talk about. I'll talk to you later, and have to let it go. Yes, Kay, I have two of them, two black babies, and this is my Mozzie. He's 13 years old. Or 12. He could be 13 this year or 12. Mommy can't remember. But yeah, that's one of my fur babies. So thank you, Kay. Was there anything else, Deb, that you wanted to add?
Just be yourself.
Yes. That's all
Just
you can
be
do.
yourself.
And as much as possible, try to choose love instead of fear. I know
Yes.
that's really hard these days. I go through every day. When I'm done here and I relax, I'll probably, start having those feelings and anxiety and stuff. But we all have our special coping skills. This is one of them. My art, coming on and having a beautiful live with my friend Deb. That's a beautiful coping skill for me to help me get into a good place. So, and Lindsay's right. Always make sure you make time for you.
Yes. Hold space for yourself.
Exactly. Alrighty. So that brings us right to 6 o'clock. So thank you again, Deb, for joining me. Thank you,
Thank you for
everybody.
inviting me.
Oh,
Yes.
you're more than welcome. I would love to keep having this conversation on, because it you saw the article. There was so many wonderful topics and thoughts and insights that she shared. That would make a wonderful second discussion. So if you're
Yes.
ever up for it, let me know. Or if you think of another one. And everybody, please make sure to check out Deb's channel. Sharon, again, thank you for posting Deb's channel link in the chat. And all my other fellow readers, thank you so much for being here and for sharing, for posting their links as well. And I will see everybody probably Friday when I have my Friday night live with Allison. And this week, Gerald from Tarot Stash will be joining us.
Cool.
So that'll be lots of laughs, I'm sure. And
Yes.
Deb, do you have anything that you want to add? Are you going to be a guest? Or
I will be on in about an hour on my channel with Thayer, and we will be practicing our mediumship. So if you have a chance, drop by and we'll answer as many questions as we can. And then on Thursday, I am going to be on Gerald's channel, Tarot Stash, for let me see if I get this right. The Woo Woo Witchery and Coffee Club.
Oh, I love this. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to scare you.
With Angela Pardiency Mesquite.
I love that.
So, and that'll be midday in on Thursday. So.
Thursday. I'm probably going to be in an appointment, but I'll catch some of the playback. That's going to be. I love the sound of that.
Playback is for?
Woo
Absolutely.
Witchery Coffee Club. Oh wow, that's awesome. Now, is that like is that going to be like a regular segment on his channel, or is this just something that you're doing this one time?
I sometimes do stories. I haven't told one this week yet, so I may tell a story and upload it in a day or so.
Okay, sounds good. Well, everybody will know. They go and they subscribe and like to Deb's channel. So, again, thank you everybody for joining us. Deb, I'll let you go so that you can go get ready and get a little bit of rest and give a little bit of love to your monkey. You probably want some mommy time, like this one here. And we will see everybody on our channels later. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.